I'm going to solve this problem algebraically. It's a difficult algebra problem. I'm going to use one variable. You could do it using two variables, but I'm going to use just one variable. So let's go ahead and define our variable. So let's say it takes Isaac X hours to finish the job on his own. Since Gottfried takes 10 additional hours, Gottfried must take X plus 10 hours to finish the job on his own. Now, based on what we said here, right here, we can draw the following conclusions right here. Okay, so if it takes Isaac X hours to finish the entire job on his own, Isaac must be finishing 1 over X portion of the job on his own every hour. And if it takes Gottfried X plus 10 hours to finish the entire job, he must be finishing 1 over X plus 10 portion of the job every hour. And that's an important connection you want to make. You really want to pause the video and try to understand why this statement, the statement in the second rectangle, follows from the first two statements. And that's very, very crucial. So we have defined our variable, and we claimed on the previous slide that Isaac took X hours to finish the job on his own, and therefore Gottfried took X plus 10 hours to finish the job on his own. Now, based on those two statements, we have also concluded that every hour Isaac does this much, 1 over X portion of the job, and Gottfried does this much. Let's write it down. It's worth it. Worth our time, trust me. And of course, this is coming from our previous slide. So, but here what happens? Isaac works for 20 hours, so he must be doing 20 over X parts of the job. And if Gottfried worked on the job or task for 30 hours, he finished 30 over X plus 10 parts of the task. So this much is done. Moreover, the question says if only 1/10 of the job is still unfinished, how much did they do? Well, they together finished 1 minus 1/10, which turns out to be 9/10. So from this last statement, we can conclude the two guys finished 9/10 of the job as they worked on it. Isaac worked on the task for 20 hours and Gottfried worked on the task for 30 hours. So once again, this is very important. You want to make sure you genuinely understand where this equation is coming from. 20 divided by X plus 30 divided by X plus 10 is equal to 9 over 10. Once you have the equation, you are in good shape. Now all we have to do is solve this equation, which is not very difficult to solve. So I'm going to solve the equation. This equation came from the previous slide, and I will solve this equation. Now you can solve it any way you want. Here is one method. I multiplied both 20 and x by x plus 10. And here I multiplied 30 by x and then x plus 10 by x so that I have the same denominator, x times x plus 10. I added these two numerators, 20 times x plus 10 plus 30 times x. I did a little bit of algebra, 20x plus 200, 30x. And now, finally, 20x plus 30x is 50x, and I still have 200, didn't do much with it. I distributed x over x plus 10, and I got x squared plus 10x. That's my equation so far. I'm not quite done. I will have to work on this further. So this came from the previous slide, and I cross multiplied 50x plus 200 by 10 and 9 by x squared plus 10x. Did a little bit of simplification, or to be specific, distributing 10 over 50x plus 200 gives me 500x plus 2000. Distributing 9 over x squared plus 10x gives me 9x squared plus 90x. Then I brought everything on the same side, and I got 9x squared minus 410x minus 2000 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation. I'm going to use the quadratic formula to solve for x. In this equation, a is the coefficient of x squared, which turns out to be 9. B is the coefficient of x, which turns out to be negative 410. C is the constant, which turns out to be negative 2000. So I'm going to go ahead and solve or find out the value of x on the next slide. So this came from the previous slide. Nothing new. Okay, so I replaced b with minus 410, a with 9, and c with negative 2000. Take a look, and if you do your calculation right, this whole quantity simplifies to a nice number, 490, and the values of x that I get are negative 40 over 9 or 50. Since x is the number of hours it took Isaac to finish the job, or if Isaac takes x hours to finish the job, x cannot be negative, so x is 50. So we have concluded that it takes Isaac 50 hours to finish the job on his own. Now the question wants us to find how long would it take Isaac to do 1/10 of the job? Well, if he does the whole job in 50 hours, to do 1/10 of the job, it will take him 1/10 of this time. If he can wrap up the whole job in 50 hours, how long would it take him to do 1/10 of it? Well, the time will be 1/10 of 50 hours, which turns out to be 5 hours. That's our answer. 5 hours. It will take Isaac to finish the job on his own 5 hours.